Hey, good morning, Mississippi. It's time for Thursday Open Lines, coming to you live from our storefront studios at 110 West Monticello Street, downtown Mayberry, Brookhaven, Mississippi, on this gorgeous Thursday morning, June the 30th. 2016, and as we always like to say, if you want to get it done in June, you better hurry up and get to it because July is knocking on the door. Good morning, I'm Robert Byrd along with the folks from the Co-Lin Seawolves team. We're ready to go for Thursday Open Lines, and Senator Sally Doty is also in the building, and we're going to be talking about an event coming up next week that she has scheduled for the 4th of July. A lot of stuff to get to this morning, and we'll jump right to it. We always like to start our show each week by thanking our sponsors who make the show possible each and every week, like Bank of Brookhaven, 5-Star Gutters, Guy's Pharmacy, King's Daughters Medical Center, Macomb Wholesale Carpet, Selman's Jewelers, Stan King GM Superstore, the Bullet Hole on Highway 84 out across from Reed's Metals, Sullivan Ford Lincoln, and the Lincoln Civic Center. As we get set for this Thursday morning, get ready for some warm weather moving in. We've got temperatures up into the 90s today, temperatures around 95, so they say, but heat index is going to make it even feel warmer than that. 96 tomorrow, 96 on Saturday, 95 Sunday. As you can see, summer is here in South Mississippi on the weather forecast for all of South Mississippi. Right now, already warming up 83 degrees here in downtown Brookhaven. As the manager of the Lincoln Civic Center walks in, good morning to you, Quinn Jordan.
Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Southwest Mississippi.
Good to see you. And of course, we do a show each week called Thursday Open Lines at 9 o'clock every morning, every week. And we always appreciate when the host and the co-host show up.
You know, I tell you what, they say the best for last. And that's why I always come in, just a dramatic entry.
Yeah, you should be in Hollywood.
Talking about a dramatic entry, it's going to be hot today, isn't it, Robert?
It is. Of course, those temperatures are going to be on up there, and we always like to remind you and encourage you to check on your friends and your elderly neighbors down the road and those pets. Make sure they have plenty to drink, and make sure they're dealing with the heat appropriately, as we like to say. All right, our first guest is a big group. The Co-Lin Seawolves are in the house, and we'll just go around the room. We've got Wes Burkett, Gage Pinson, Kerry Williamson, Celeste Williamson, and who am I missing? Did I get everybody? And we got everybody on the list. We've got some cheerleaders here too, right? We've got a guy
Is that
over
the
here.
first time you've ever been called a cheerleader?
To encourage the Co-Lin Seawolves. And you guys have just gotten back from a big trip out of Houston, an international competition. But before we get into the competition, for some of those folks that may not have heard you guys the first time you were on talking about going to this trip, how would you describe, Gage, we'll start with you. You're in front of the microphone. How would you describe the Co-Lin Seawolves? What is the Seawolves? Or what are the Seawolves, to be grammatically correct?
We're a team that's on the Marine Advanced Technological Exploration. Did I get that right?
That sounded good to me.
Anytime you say that, say it with confidence and nobody will question you, I promise.
Well, it did a lot for me. I'm a first-year team member, and I can't imagine getting into it. What you would tell me, what the experiences I've had, the opportunities, the people I've met. I mean, we just got back from an international competition, 16 different countries all competing, and the Seawolves just slingshotted me into what I want to do, I think, for the rest of my life. Wow. Because I'm going into engineering. Yeah. You kind of get caught up in the calculus, the physics, getting good grades, but the hands-on stuff, you can't learn that any other way. And Seawolves is just a golden opportunity for anybody that wants to get a hands-on experience.
I just wish you'd get excited.
Yeah, I wish you could get excited about it.
I mean,
It's all coming out.
That's pretty good.
Kerry Williamson across the table, sitting beside Quinn Jordan this morning in the studio. Kerry, I know you're part of this team, and you're kind of, the mentor of the team?
Yeah, we have several mentors, actually. Starting about, I'd say about 5 years ago, Dr. Kevin McCollum, physics instructor at Co-Lin, and I were invited to a seminar or class, or so to speak, in California, just to raise awareness with the MATE group, which he so graciously explained to us what that was, the Marine Advanced Technology and Education group, which is funded by the National Science Foundation. It's a grant project through them. But we were able to go out there and learn about how ROVs and how marine technology could influence education, and how we could use that to encourage STEM programs in all different ages and ranges of education. And so they were at the time, they were really looking to push the community college education scene there. And so we went out there and we learned a good bit about it. And so we were able to bring that back and start a team, Dr. McCullen and I, and we had to have other mentors involved as well. We couldn't do it alone, just electronics and physics. So we brought in Wes and in the drafting design department. Bo Johnson is our machining instructor, and we always have to have good skilled machinists in the program as well, and on the team as well. So we brought them in, and we also have some help from the English department, marketing and business department. Richard Baker is always willing to jump in there and give us his opinions on what we're doing. Part of the competition is a business aspect. We have to present our product as a business, and so you'll hear us say team a lot, but in the competition we actually refer to ourselves as a business organization. So,
are there any other community colleges in the state that has a team like this?
There are. This year there were no other colleges, no other schools, or anything, any other teams from Mississippi. Last year we had Mississippi State bring a team to St. John's, Newfoundland, and it was a first-year team, and they did pretty good. I mean, as a first-year team, but we. All the other years that we've competed, we were the only team from Mississippi, and we're proud of that fact. We like to tell everyone that we bring a really good competitive team to an international competition from small town Mississippi.
Well, I think that speaks sets up real well for the world that we live in now, because we're going to be competing globally. Are the next generation of kids, I mean, as opposed to just competing with town versus town or county versus county.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to be competing a global economy, and competing for that business. And I think that's a really good experience for these kids. All right, now talk about what are the Seawolves. So I know we talk about underwater robotics. It's pretty interesting. And before we get into the competition that you guys just came from, the international competition, kind of talk about what you've seen over the past 7 years from that first design compared to what you have today. Is there a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, a big difference, or what?
Well, obviously, anytime you get involved in a certain project or whatever, you've got to improve, and you learn things from over time. Our first team, and I'll just throw this out there. Aaron's here with us. He was co-pilot from our first team. He come along for support today, but he could attest to this, but we didn't do so well our first year. I mean, we failed drastically, dramatically, I guess you could say. But it was still a very, very good learning experience for the students. Even in failure, you learn a lot. And so we placed something like 23rd out of 26 teams that year. So we were down near the bottom. But we were still very excited, and everyone on the team was able to gain real life learning experiences. But over the years, we've managed to learn from our mistakes and do better. I've learned what I need to teach the guys and girls on the team to get them to understand the aspects of how to build an ROV and how to do it well. And we've managed to get, I think second year we were at something like 6th place internationally, and then we kind of bounced back down to 7th place, and then we had another 6th place internationally. Last year we ranked 4th internationally, and we were real excited this year to do better, even better, and break the top 3. But we had some technical difficulties, and we managed to work through those technical difficulties and still pull out a very respectable 8th place in an international competition. We were very proud of that.
And that was last week, right?
Yes, that was last week. And I'm going to let Gage say this again, because I heard him say it when we got home. Gage, you told us whenever we got home that it was
the best trip of my life. I've been in Boy Scouts. I've been on trips with my school, Washington, D.C., someplace in Virginia, I forget, for Boy Scouts. At Fort A.P. Hill, Jamboree, 100th Century, blow it out of the water. But this is crazy. All the people, all the intelligent minds under one building.
Yeah.
When you kind of bring that together, you can't beat it. You can't describe it any other way. You just have it. And that caught me off guard. And everybody was wanting to help each other. It wasn't the competitiveness that you didn't want to win based on somebody else failing. You wanted, like Carrie said, you wanted your robot to do good.
Right.
And we did good. We did really well compared to what we had go wrong. We didn't have enough time to troubleshoot it. I think that's what kind of pushed us down. But we got the Design Elegance Award, and that goes a long way. I mean, it showed just how much of the design, how better it's gotten over the years. And it was just a privilege to be able to go on this trip.
Wes Burkett is here as well. We're going to get him to step up to the microphone. He's the drafting and design instructor. And Wes, you've kind of seen this project. How would you describe, this is radio, so kind of give people, try to build a picture in folks' mind that are listening right now of what y'all's robot looked like.
Well, it was a cylinder design with legs.
Yeah.
And thrusters.
Okay.
It was a small, compact robot this year.
How small is small?
It would fit within a 58 centimeter circle.
Okay.
And I know most people don't understand centimeters, so that's what, around 17 inches, 22 inches.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it fitted within a 22-inch circle, weighing in at around 35 pounds. Compared to the last year's robot, which was 70 pounds, it was quite a bit of difference. It was small, compact, it was fast.
Now, Wes, do they set parameters for y'all to kind of design within, or y'all just decide what you're going to do?
Well, we kind of start out with a preliminary idea of what we'd like to look at, and then as things progress, starting in August when we start our program, usually you get a little ways in, and then they start releasing little tidbits of information that allow us to start narrowing our design.
So they do have to kind of set the parameters of the design a little bit?
A little bit. Like this year, they set out the parameters that you got extra points for being small and light.
Okay.
So, and being that we were operating in a 40-foot deep pool, which is the deepest we've seen, it was pretty impressive.
But you knew that there were some extra points for being light and
we did, and we
small,
designed towards that.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Gotcha. Now, what was the biggest one out there? Were there some larger ones, or
there were some large ones? And as far as actual size, I couldn't even tell you. There were several teams that had some pretty nice size robots that didn't even. I don't think they were looking to get to that small size.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when you say they were larger than what you had, are you saying size of a child, size of?
No, you're talking probably, up to around maybe 36 inches in length, and maybe 18 inches wide. And
more so poundage than...
Right, you're probably getting up to 40, 50, 60 pounds.
Gotcha. And this competition, now you were in Houston, you guys, the whole team went to the Seawolves team, and the last time you guys were here, you told us that the mechanism that you use as a remote control is kind of an Xbox. It is an Xbox control.
It is an Xbox controller.
All right, so my kids would be good at that. A lot of kids would be good at that.
I can't run it at all.
Yeah. All right, so you get there and you sign in. What was the first challenge? What was the first thing you had to do?
The first challenge we face when we get there is we have to go through a safety inspection. And it's a very rigorous safety inspection, so everything has to be, as far as electrical, which this year we did not use any air or hydraulics, so that's something we didn't have to worry about addressing. But, power, any kind of sharp edges, your propellers on your thrusters have to be covered. It's a whole big safety checklist you have to go through to get. Once you get your safety inspection, then you can move forward. You cannot move forward without it.
Well, I think that would be an important step into this process.
It is.
Because, if it's not safe or you're dealing with electronics in water, I could see trouble there.
Absolutely. And that's the whole emphasis. Safety is a huge emphasis throughout the entire competition. They want people to be safe. They want them to learn, get that team spirit going, and but safety is always number one.
So was there a safety panel, I guess you could say, that would check your
Yes.
robot? And,
yes, you actually go through two safety inspections. You go through a preliminary inspection, and once you've gone through that preliminary inspection, then you're ready for your final inspection if you pass it. And then one man, the safety officer for the entire competition, comes through and he inspects every single robot for the safety
Now,
checks.
Wes, when you get through with the whole program and getting it safe and you get it in the pool, what are they asking the robot to do? And what are y'all asking the robot to do so you can kind of see it working?
Well, Carrie can help me with this a little bit. What it is MATE has set forth specifications of missions that we have to do, missions we have to complete.
Right.
Those missions are available to us in late November or so, and so we know exactly what we're going to have to do and we have to design towards. So, but if you can imagine, a real life problem, and whether it's in the ocean. This year we actually had some space,
Space
a moon from Jupiter. But anyway, so there's real life problems there, and they try to simulate those problems best they can in a swimming pool.
Okay.
And so those simulations they build up that they mock up are something like just made out of PVC, or some type of box, or something sticking up out of a piece of concrete or something like that. And so we have to simulate those problems. They have to simulate those problems best they can in a safe environment. And so they also release the specifications on how we can build our props that match theirs. And so we are able to practice on props, but that still doesn't make it any easier. It's
still you say all that stuff, but still, in my mind, I'm thinking, what are those props, and what is one of the things that you had to actually do?
All right. Well, like I said, I'll just mention one specifically. There's like I said, there's a space aspect to this. NASA is actually actively exploring a moon named Europa that's outside of Jupiter, and they believe that moon to have a lot of water, surface water, under a thick layer of ice. And so they're actively pursuing sending a ship to Europa and dropping payload onto that surface to explore that surface. Right. And so one of the goals, or one of the missions, was that they're going to drop these boxes, okay? And the boxes have to land in a certain spot, and then they have to be retrieved. And so they have these little boxes made out of PVC, and they have the serial numbers written on the side, and we have to go down and pick the right box and put it into an elevator platform. Again, another just a big square with a net in it, and so that they could retrieve out. A spaceship could possibly retrieve out. And so we have these. It's about a foot square. Just little small PVC boxes, and we had to flip them over if they were upside down to be able to read the numbers on them.
Can I volunteer Quinn to be the pilot of that ship to go to Europa? Europa.
There you go. Eupora, I think.
Eupora, that's up Mississippi.
Yeah, I think I've been there. I've already done that.
No, Europa, I think, is a better choice for you. Very good. So you guys come in top 10.
You got a good one for that.
Yeah. You got a top 10 win for the Seawolves. So now, next class coming in, you guys stay on the team, Gage, or how does that work?
Well, it just depends if you're going to copiah-lincoln.
Yeah.
I won't be, which I'm disappointed that I only got into it this year. I'll be transferring to Mississippi State, and hopefully I can hit it on the head and I can try to get the ball rolling there, because
that'd be good.
It would be good. They had it last year, and I'd like them to have it this coming year.
Yeah,
I think any type of opportunity like
turn a
that,
cowbell into a robot,
Or it'd have to have a cowbell somewhere on it.
Yeah, have to have a cowbell somewhere. So very good. So Kerry, I know you're always recruiting for this class. So the Seawolves doing really well, growing and improving each year, and the school year will be here before we know it for 2016, 2017.
Absolutely.
And how do folks get in touch with you? How do they learn more? Maybe there's a parent listening, or a kid going to Co-Lin this year that wants to get involved. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can always just call the school directly, and they'll get you transferred into the person that you need to speak to, a counselor or whatever, and they would then pass that along to us, because as in career tech instructors, we're not on campus during the summer, but we can absolutely get in touch with us just by calling the school. We are recruiting all the time, and we found this to be a really good recruiting tool, because it brings a lot of international recognition to the college, and so there's a lot of robotics teams around in the high school, high schools around here, I should say, and they're always looking to see where they can continue their robotics sporting type events.
And just to be clear, you don't have to be a physics major or a scientist or any of that to get involved, right?
No, not at all. And like I mentioned earlier, we have students from all different aspects of school, of the college, and we like to see that diversity, and it really helps when it comes to being able to compete in such a diverse competition, with all the sales aspects. We have to write technical papers and create marketing displays and set it up as a business and keep budget and all of that stuff.
Well, I'll volunteer my yard should you guys want to put a swimming pool
40 foot deep.
40 foot deep
Well, we
anywhere.
really do need a swimming pool.
Yeah, I think.
Nice-
Can we
nice
pitch
bring
that to
up.
Dr. Nettles?
Well, it's already been pitched many times.
Over there
So,
toward the number 9 tee box.
There you go.
You'll even keep it clean.
I'll keep it clean, and we can do that, and
I'm all for it.
and have a place for you guys to come over and practice and all of that good stuff. So very good. The Co-Lin Seawolves at it and doing well with their team, and you guys have some sponsors that kind of make it.
Absolutely.
Speaking of swimming pool, I know y'all have practiced at the Brookhaven Country Club. Seen y'all out there.
Yeah, and we really appreciate those guys helping us out and letting us practice there in the early swim season when they didn't have a whole lot of stuff going on there. The GP Monticello Mill is always a very willing to step up and help us out monetarily and helping us get to where we need to be. Co-Lin, we need to thank them and for being supportive. Sea Trepid is a company down in Robert, Louisiana. They are always willing to help in any way they can, whether it's monetary if they are able, or material donations. They are in the ROV industry and they are able to help us out when we have problems there, our needs there. A company out of Denmark is named Consens, and they actually we had a problem. We needed a part. We needed a linear actuator that was waterproof, and that's just not something that you can find just anywhere. And so we've searched for years, and this company has just released a small linear actuator that just goes in. And it's electrically controlled. So we wrote an email. We sent them an email, told them who we were, what we did, and they were very eager to sponsor us. And so we received about $800 in material donations from them. We were very excited about that. And then, of course, the Make Group out in Monterey, California. This is their 15th year to put on this competition, and they do an excellent job. It's a lot of work for them, but it brings together. He mentioned 16 different countries, 60-something teams. 1,200 people were in attendance at this event, and it was just spectacular. We want to send people to our Facebook page. We have it's facebook.com/Co-Lin Seawolves. And there's pictures, and you can see the score sheets there, and that facility at NASA, the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, is where we were. In case you don't know that, if you've ever seen a movie or pictures or whatever of the International Space Station underwater, that's where we were. Our divers were having to go down. Our drivers of the RV were going down, and you could see in the cameras in the background the International Space Station as they're diving down to their mission. And so
pretty neat.
A little bit of a distraction there, if you ask me.
So let me back it up just a minute. Were the challenges that you had, were they the same challenges for everybody that were in y'all category and everything?
Every team had the same exact challenges,
Okay.
and so we were competing against the other 31 teams doing the same things.
Was it a race, or was it more of a you got your time?
It's a timed event. You get 15 minutes, 2 tries.
But you were in the water by yourself. Y'all were in the water by yourself at that time.
On our mission task, in our mission station. We were the only ones working in that station. They had 3 stations set up, so they'd run 3 at a time.
Talking about technical difficulties, that's part of the learning curve and the growth. You said you had some this year.
Absolutely.
What was the issues there?
Well, without getting too specific, but our thrusters. We went to a brand new brand of thrusters that we had never used before. And if you think thrusters, just exactly what you might imagine. It's just a motor with a propeller on it, and it pushes the ROV around in the water. And so we had 4 of those, and the motor controller pack that went with each one. And in the last week, the week before competition, we had one thruster or two thrusters fail and 3 motor controller packs fail. So, and we're still trying to determine the cause of that failure. It did not show itself earlier on in the year. We were able to run the ROV flawlessly for several weeks and leading up to that. And then right there at the end, it kind of all went south for us. And so we had many long nights in Houston at the hotel repairing that robot. We had parts overnighted into the hotel. I mean, it was just a big story there. And so we would stay up, and I would supervise the guys, and they did the work. Let me just mention that. I mean, I would help them to understand what they needed to do, and then they would take the parts off and re-waterproof everything, put it all back together, and then we'd go down in the pool.
So is this something that you guys
at the hotel and test it out?
So you guys would be going back next year, or is it something you qualify for next year? Or?
Well, we do. There is a small qualification we have to run. I mean, you have to demonstrate that your ROV actually works. And they record a video and send it in, and they invite you then. But we've never had a problem qualifying it. But we do plan to go. Next year's in Long Beach, California, so we'll have a little bit more money that we have to raise for travel for that. But
Quinn, that's when you volunteered me.
You
right.
said to me before.
And I get Long Beach.
I think there's something wrong here.
Very good. Kerry, congratulations to y'all. Real quick, Wes, I see y'all have the shirt. You have the blue shirts, the Co-Lin Wolf shirts that have the diamond with SURE in the middle of the diamond. Tell everybody what that means.
Sure is our just our company name, and it's Seawolves. Seawolves Underwater Robotics and Engineering, and that's just kind of the name that the team had picked out for itself, all those years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah. And it kind of represents, the college and represents what we do.
Very good. Congratulations to you. Kerry Williamson, Gage Pinson, Wes Burkett, and Aaron over here. I appreciate you guys coming in this morning. Congratulations to y'all on the top 10 win. Good luck to you at state, buddy, and hope everything goes good up there, and try to get a cowbell converted into a robot. I think that would be a really good move. Yeah, I think so. All right, we're going to take a break. We've got Senator Sally Doty in the house. She's next on Thursday Open Lines right after this commercial break.